Very good. You all have a good meeting, okay?
That way I don't forget.
Thanks,
Okay.
Pablo.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, we'll just give folks another minute or two to hop on. Um, Excuse me, I'm sorry. Why can't I find how to mute myself now? So sorry about that. Thank you all for your patience. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you all for joining tonight. As always, we'll start with introductions. If there's anyone here who would like to introduce themselves, it is not required, but if anyone's new, please, we'll take a few moments and give folks that opportunity.
Hi, I would love to introduce myself. This is my first time.
Welcome.
Thank you. Well, it's my first time since we've been back from the pandemic. I've been to a couple of meetings before, but my name is Tamika Kenny, and I'm with an organization called Young Life. I am based in Community District 8. And we basically mentor young people within that community district and fill in wherever they need it, whether it's tutoring, whether it's helping the schools out in whatever area we can. Like I do cafeteria duty for Walton campus 3 to 4 times a week just to help them out. We try to fill in to help kids and help the teachers in any way we can. We also have other opportunities where kids can be involved. We run something called Club every week where kids can come for food, fun, community support, and a message of hope before they leave. So we do that on a weekly basis, as well as we have camping opportunities during the summertime.
Thank you.
Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse. I do apologize for that.
You sound fine. Thank you for joining us tonight.
So much.
Anyone else like to introduce themselves?
Sure. So sorry that my camera's off. I'm multitasking at the same time. But my name is Imani, and I'm actually in CSD 6, but I'm here to support Tamika, who is a colleague and friend and raised in the Bronx, so in the hybrid section. And this is my first meeting, and I'm just looking to learn and just hear what's going on in CSD 8.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Nikai Cruz. I'm the Bronx Outreach Coordinator for the Civilian Complaint Review Board of New York. For those of you who are not aware, the CCRB, Civilian Complaint Review Board, is a city agency that investigates and prosecutes allegations of misconduct against members of the NYPD. As an outreach coordinator, we teach Know Your Rights workshops. We also have a youth advisory council that we pull young New Yorkers under the age of 18. And usually around November. So for this coming year, I'll be keeping you all abreast of applications when they open up. But they essentially help us do our job. They inform us. They serve as community liaisons for their community to the agency regarding the police community relations. So I'm just happy to be here. I'll provide my information in the chat. And please note that the outreach team is available nights and weekends to do these workshops in person, virtual, whatever the case may be, wherever we can be. Thank you all.
Thank you and welcome. Unfortunately, our chat feature does not work. So if you could send that to the board office, we'll be happy to distribute it both here and I think I can add it to the minutes because we're talking about it.
Absolutely, Julie. I'll be happy to do that. Thank you.
And for all of our new folks, any events that you're having, please feel free to send it to the board office. We will discuss it here or send it around or figure out the best way to get the information out to the rest of the community.
Got it. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all. Any other introductions? I guess maybe I should introduce myself. That might be helpful. My name is Julia Gomez. I am the chairperson for the Youth Committee of Community Board 8. I've been this chair, I want to say it's been 4 years now. 3-4 years. And I've been on the board. I lose track. I apologize. So again, welcome to everyone, new friends, older friends. Happy to have all of you with us tonight. Are there any other?
I'm Sergio Boulevardi. I'm a member of CB8 as well. Been on this committee a couple of years now. I obviously live in the neighborhood, not obviously, but I do live in the neighborhood. And very excited to be here. I chair the Veterans Committee the Special Committee on Veteran Services for CB8 as well. So, hello, everyone.
I'm Leona. I'm also a member of the youth committee. I'm currently a senior at the Bronx High School of Science. It's right outside the district, but I live in CB8. Yeah, I'm excited for the meeting.
My name is Eleanor Gagan, Bronx Science Pride. I'm Bronx Science alumni, but I work with the Kingsbridge Heights Community Center as their bridge coach, and I come to represent the youth issues. Sorry, my dad is in the background making faces at me just to make me laugh, so I apologize. But I'm here just to talk about the issues that we have at the center and see what collaborations we can do.
If I may, I'm David Gelman. I'm a member of Community Board 8 as well. I chair the Budget Committee. Just for a point of information, Imani, you may not know, but there's actually a connection with your Highbridge community and our community. If you know Riverdale Avenue, as it comes up from 231st Street, goes uphill, there's a very, very large retaining wall there.
Yes.
And the beautiful stone on that wall comes from the High Bridge when they took away the stone of the arches to put in the huge arch. And they didn't know what to do with the stone. They brought it up to Riverdale, and it has been there for, I don't know, 50 or 75 years.
Wow.
On our retaining wall.
Thank you for sharing that.
All right, I think that's all of us here in attendance tonight. The next item on our agenda is approval of the committee minutes for March of 2023. Is there any discussion of the minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any opposition? Yay, minutes are approved. Thank you for bearing with me through that. For my chair's report, it's really quite brief. They're more reminders of things we've already done. I believe that SYEP applications are now closed. Hopefully folks were able to get that in if they needed to. However, what I believe is still open is our Comeback Kid and the Yankee Awards. We've got a little bit more time for that. If you need an application, please reach out to the board office. I will ask that they send it around just to be thorough with these minutes, which should go out by the end of the week. We encourage all to apply, especially with both our Comeback Kid Awards and I think the Yankee Leadership Award. It is also an opportunity to help support young folks or younger folks in, resume building and asking for letters of recommendation and understanding who would be a good person to write a letter of recommendation. You don't want to ask everybody, between how well they know you, so I think it is a good opportunity to get people used to submitting applications, following directions and everything else. If we get those early and there are any issues, we're happy to provide feedback and give folks a chance to address them. If we get them at the deadline, it makes it a little harder to do that. Our budget items we finalized last meeting, so David is our budget chair. They are due by the 20th. I am remiss that I haven't already sent them over since we finalized them last meeting, but they will be in on time, David, I promise. And I think that is my chair report for the evening. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have two questions. My first question is, what is the due date for Comeback Kid? I heard some conflicting numbers. I just wanted to make sure.
I want to say April 30th off the top of my head, but I'd have to double check and my computer doesn't always cooperate when I do that. So give me a minute and I will try to pull that up for you, but I want to make sure I give you correct information rather than just quick information. So, was there another question while I do that?
Yes. My organization submitted some nominations for the Yankee Award, and we haven't received any like confirmation response. Is there? Have we done something amiss? Is something amiss, or is that just kind of the way it is? We don't get like a confirmation or.
I'm not sure, since those usually go through the board office, but what I can do is I can ask Pablo if he has been confirming them. And since if specifically asked that he confirm yours, since you just want to make sure that
Thank you so much.
Julia, this is Imani. Can I ask a question about the comeback kit?
sure.
So is there a specific age range for that? And is it focused on around a particular event, like a specific date? Just curious.
There isn't a specific age range. I mean, this committee is a little more flexible because it's just youth. So I think we usually get mostly high school-ish students. We're not restricted to that. I don't know, I don't have the requirements or the specific things here, and I'm not sure anything went out. I think we normally get events that have happened in the last year, but doesn't necessarily have to be. It can be a longer picture of, you know, someone having to overcome something. And right now that's kind of the criteria.
Okay.
I know the board office has initiated some preliminary conversations with me about, you know, do we want to provide more guidance in the criteria moving forward. By the time those conversations happened this year, I felt like it would have only delayed this process. And we're trying to make sure that, you know, it's, we'd like these awards to coincide with the other awards that the community board gives in June.
Okay.
So, yeah, that, ooh, iPhone waiting, sorry, just, looked away, and when I came back, there was an alert that someone was in the waiting room. It looks like on the comeback kit, it was due on the 14th. I think if the committee agrees, we could be a little flexible, because I think initially we had hoped to have them for this meeting, but I actually didn't receive any. I don't know if you guys did. Sergio, did you receive any? Did I list it in the 800 emails we get every day?
I did not. I'll double check though.
Thanks, Eric. We think yours.
Okay.
Upgrade today to 1 gig fiber internet.
The Yankee Award is due April 28th, but I'll talk to the board about sending something saying we can probably make our deadline the same. That's a week from Friday. That's the last Friday of the month.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay. If there aren't any on the chair's report, we can move on to new business. I have one item, but I'd like to open it up to the floor to see if you have anything before I take up more space. Okay, the only other piece of new business I have, and I never know whether it belongs in my report or new business, so excuse me if I get a little flexible with this. Lisa approached me in April and asked if I would be open to having a joint meeting with Aging in May, seeing as how that's on the table, to kind of see how it would work, if it would work. I told her I didn't have a very strong reaction either way, but that I would bring it here. I know that we had very preliminarily discussed this, and there were a lot of thoughts and such. So And I know that's brand new information to folks here, so I'm happy to give folks a minute to kind of think about it. I know one of the biggest concerns, if I remember correctly, and folks, please correct me if I'm misremembering, was that if we merge with aging and or possibly veterans, how do we ensure that the youth are not lost in that hybrid merged committee? And I think this is one of the ways we would find out if it is going to even be possible without, I think it would give us more information moving into the next community board year about the feasibility of this. Taking into consideration, we've never had one of these meetings and there are going to be hiccups. There are difference between hiccups and some fundamental inabilities to function collaboratively, or, I don't know that that's the case, and most of the time things fall in the middle, right? Things aren't at the extremes. It's in that gray area where we got to figure it out. But I think it would give us some good data about if we are struggling with just the two committees, what would we do if we added veterans or anything else to it? So those were my thoughts, but I've had a lot of time to think about it. Sergio, you have your hand raised?
I think it's a great idea to try and have a joint meeting. We can have a discussion amongst the membership of both committees, and afterwards, maybe they don't want us, maybe we don't want them. It's I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth a shot. I have two thoughts. I think first of all, part of the original rationale for the potential merger is that it's a lot of the same people providing the services. So I was just curious if of the people representing community centers here, how many of you guys serve elders?
I only deal with kids and their parents, but no service elders.
Our community center does have older adult services. I am not super up to speed on what goes on there, but I know that we do have them. I like the idea of having a sort of trial run on a smaller scale with aging, because I think of aging and veterans, they're going to have the most inline priorities, I don't want to say, with us. So I like the idea of getting that sort of extra data before we make any big decision.
Yeah, also might be preliminary to think about it, but I think aging meets at 4:30. So that might be a hurdle.
I will be the very first to say that that is a hurdle for me. I will never be able to make a 4:30 meeting. And as I have said, not recently, but I'll probably bring it up again. It's about due to bring it up. Even the full board meetings being at 7, it doesn't give me a lot of time. I work till 5, takes me a little over an hour to get home. It makes it really tight for me to, I haven't had dinner yet tonight and we were meeting at 7:30. So yes, the timing, but I'll also say youth used to be at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just was kind of I absolutely can't do that. So I'm optimistic that we'll be able to find a time, but that in itself might be a hurdle that we might not be able to get over. David, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, yes, in a similar vein, the key agencies for aging are the JASA, the Riverdale Y Senior Center, and the Riverdale Senior Services, and they don't have any youth programs at all. In similar to Kingsbridge Heights and all that, there's not a great deal of crossover with the agencies. So food for thought. But the idea of having a joint meeting to address these possibilities, I think, is a very good one.
Yeah, I think for those of you who don't know, if this was something we wanted to support and we wanted to move forward on, it would be a change of the bylaws. Any change in our bylaws requires a vote in 2 consecutive meetings, and both times it has to pass. So at this point in our year, I don't think anyone's ready to put it on the meeting for tomorrow, which means, could we technically do something in June and September? Yes. I think historically the board has shied away from leaving things lingering over the summer. So this wouldn't be taken up until the next board calendar kind of starts in September. And I even think that usually the September meeting is catching up. So the fastest this would happen is October, which gives us a couple meetings to try to figure things out if there's enough overlap to make it make sense, if we can find a time, if we can make sure that the youth and the places that don't overlap have space both for us and for aging. Because I imagine, you know, May actually be, well, this probably would have been a great time to do it because this is when both committees have a little bit more going on with the awards and applications and summer. That seeing how we do when we've both got priorities, but I digress. All right, so I will let Lisa know that we are amenable to a pilot joint meeting in May. Keep in mind that that may mean the date will change. There's no guarantee that everyone will be able to meet on our day. We may want to pick a neutral day, and I will try to be a little more flexible with time. But that being said, I cannot meet before 6:15 because I don't think it's fair to take these meetings in transit and not be able to give it my full attention. Sergio, your hand is raised. Is that from before, or do you have another item?
No, once we're done with this one, I'm sorry, I'll lower it, Madam Chairman. I do have a question for Mr. Cruz afterwards under new business.
Okay. I mean, I guess, is there any more thoughts on this joint meeting? Have I missed anything?
I mean, far be it for me to suggest because, you know, I'm new, but I have noticed that some of the other community boards, they have joint meetings every other month or quarterly. I don't know if that's of any help, but I've noticed that they focus on, you know, their immediate meeting, and then quarterly, maybe they'll have a collaborative meeting as well. But I've only seen that a handful of times.
Yeah, and we, and folks who've been on community board longer, or tell me if you think I'm totally off base, we tend to have them, it seems, more ad hoc, is that when things overlap, we'll throw together a joint meeting. But that's also, I think that might be a good idea for maybe next year is if April goes well, maybe we start with quarterly joint meetings, or every other month, and the odd months we have joint meetings if we want to try to phase into that. That may be, or maybe we don't merge, but we have those meetings for, sorry, my cat just tried to get me. We have joint meetings for issues that do overlap instead of merging the committees. Thank you. I appreciate the additional option. I'm all about options. Any other thoughts on a joint meeting?
Yes, I just wanted to ask what the purpose was initially for the joint meeting, because if we're focusing on youth and they're focusing on the aging, like how would those meetings like run with 2 separate populations being focused on?
That's a big question that we've talked about a lot, so I'm going to try to be concise. The current chair of the Aging Committee approached me, and actually Mr. Villaverde, as well as the Veterans Chair, about potentially merging our committees. The idea behind it was, I believe, threefold, if I remember correctly. I don't want to put words in Lisa's mouth because she's not here, but one, it is we are the 3 committees that tend to focus a little bit more on individuals. We don't work as closely, like for us, we don't work DYCD is not in these meetings as much as like land use has to liaise with the city much more often than we do. I have access to Alexander. He's been a great ally to us, but we're not working as closely with them. Two, when it comes to some of our community centers, there is some overlap, and in that, maybe we could be working more collaboratively. And three, more pragmatically, is that all three of these committees have had some historical issues with board member attendance. While I appreciate all of you guys who are not on Community Board 8 being here, and we couldn't do these without you, we need to have usually more than one person, more than just the chair, so that we can vote on things and move things along and push things forward. And all three committees have struggled with that at some point, either historically or currently, or like last year, whatever it was. So the idea was to try to bolster some of the attendance as well. Now, that being said, there was a lot of concern about losing the voices of the youth committee, the aging committee, the veteran, the individual voices in a big melting pot. It was also kind of brought up, maybe youth, if we were going to merge, would be better off with our education committee. I don't think I've been shy about my opinion that if it was just youth and education, I would have been a little bit more open to it. But right now, our education committee was also previously merged with our library committee and our Education, Library, and Cultural Affairs. So that's already a merged committee. To then add youth on feels a little bit to me like an afterthought. And my concerns about our voice being lost is a little bit more there. That so that's my personal opinion. So that's why when Lisa approached me about a pilot joint meeting, again, we could have been having these all along if there was something. I'm trying to think of something. When they were looking at the bus ridership and like the MTA was looking to reduce something, that's something traffic and transportation, aging, and youth could have had a joint meeting because it affects us all, right? We have them kind of ad hoc. So we're not setting any great precedent here, but I think it's a good trial run. And I feel like I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to take a beat. Did that answer the question?
It did. And I think I agree with Mr. Cruz, like maybe having a joint meeting quarterly would be a great start to seeing how the meetings flow before committing to like every month having a meeting jointly. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll even be perfectly honest, my personal opinion, and I'm open to feedback on this, is that before I'm even willing to commit to semi-regular joint meetings, I want to see how this one goes. If this one's a mess, then we're going to need to do some work before we try to meet again. And again, acknowledging that there will be hiccups and growing pains and those kinds of things. If this is not helpful or functional or productive at all, then we'll have to go back to the drawing board before I'd feel comfortable trying again.
Thank you for explaining that, Julia.
You're welcome. All right. If there's no other questions about the joint meeting, is there any other new business? Sergio, I believe you had some.
Yes, for Mr. Cruz, actually, from the CCRB. Thank you so much for attending the meeting. First of all, nice to meet you, and it's great that you guys are here, and we appreciate that. Hopefully, you come to more than just one committee. I'm sure you will, but anyway, if you could really give us when you send over your information, a concise way that we could get the information out to the different community centers we have here, because we do have kids that are who are leaders and hard chargers who I think would be good, and it'd be great to have all the parts of Community Board 8 represented and get them active. We've got, as you see, we have one of the youth members on our committee now. And she's outstanding. So it'd be great to get that. So if you definitely get that in, that would be appreciated. And if you send it to, Madam Chair, would it be appropriate? May I give my email? Because my email is not a secret.
That's absolutely fine.
Thank you. Sergio ESQ is the shortest one. Sergio ESQ at AOL.com. If you could send me the information as well. I have some some of the youth that may be interested. Thank you. And thank you so much for attending.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And moving forward, I'll be reaching out so we can maybe get something together regarding any workshops or any other opportunities that we come across. We also have opportunities. Prior to COVID, we used to invite classes to our office that they can meet different, working positions and see all the different opportunities that the agency would have to offer individuals who want a city job. You
Right.
can meet an attorney, meet the data analysts there. It's not just investigations, but if you're interested in that too, you can learn that process. The students can come to a trial and they can, see directed and cross-examination at One Police Plaza, meet the different officers and high-ranking police officials, their representation, our representation, and just kind of build out something organically with as you see fit.
Yeah,
You know what I
I think, that's even, all right, all the more reason. I'm a lot more interested. Thank
Most
you.
definitely. Most definitely. I'll be sending that out shortly.
Thank
to
you.
all
Thank
of
you,
you.
Madam Chair.
Thank
Very
you as
well.
well, Madam Chair.
No, that's what we're here for. Is there any other new business? Any old business, anything that's hanging out there that we should be discussing? David.
Yes, I'm sorry. When you mentioned me in the budget before, I literally got a phone call right at the moment, so I don't know what you said.
Oh, no, just that we
was
actually
horrible.
finalized our budget requests last meeting. I just have not submitted them. I have been remiss, but you should have them definitely by Friday. I'm really trying for tonight or tomorrow, but as you can see, the phone won't stop ringing, so they're still calling me from work. But yes, we finalized them last meeting and they are ready to go. I have been the
No problem, no problem. The Friday will be fine. Don't worry about it. It's more prodding than absolute, a matter of execution. So Friday will be fine. Thank you.
thank you. Any other odds and ends, new business, old business, something that didn't quite fit into any of that? All right, you guys are really invested in me keeping the title of one of the shortest meetings. If there's no other business that the committee needs to address at this time, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you so much for your time, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have a good evening and please stay safe out there.
Thank you.
You too, Dr.
Bye,
Gomez. Enjoy
guys.
your dinner.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good night.
I think we went to high school together. Seriously, I think you were a freshman. I think she was a freshman when I was a senior.
We, Leona? Oh.